Sam Mendes is making 4 Beatles biopics, one for each Beatle, and I have some major concerns. Number 1, the best biopics are about people you've never heard about. Why? Because when you know about the person in the biopics, A, there's so much expectation, and B, there's so much pressure to depict them a certain way. Movies like A Beautiful Mind, Hidden Figures, Hotel Rwanda, The Pianist, The Elephant Man, Hacksaw Ridge, these biopics were about people that, prior to the biopic, were known by some who were very interested in that subject matter, but the better part of the population really had no idea who they were. So they got to go into the film and learn everything they knew about this person from the film. It's a lot harder to come into a film when you already know the whole story, especially when that story has been depicted very well in other mediums like documentaries. I'm thinking Get Back, which brings me to point 2. Get Back was so good. We got hours and hours of footage of the Beatles together, interacting, collaborating, fighting, arguing. We have 2 Beatles who are still alive. I just can't see myself, after watching Get Back, as a huge Beatles fan, wanting to watch some people cosplay the Beatles and do such a poorer job. Number 3, biopics are generally just Oscar bait that make no real cultural impact. I'm thinking Bohemian Rhapsody, Rocket Man, Elvis, and now this Bob Marley biopic, which did not do very well. I don't want the Beatles film to just be another one of these. Now, Sam Mendes is a fabulous director. 1917 is one of my all-time favorite war films. It's incredible, but a lot of that is due to the cinematography work of Roger Deakins. But when you're dealing with a subject matter like the Beatles that everybody already knows about, I don't know that if it's just about the Beatles generally, I don't think if you made a Beatles movie about when they came to the United States and refused to play at segregated arenas. Okay, we're focusing in on a really tight, specific Beatles story. That would be interesting. And maybe people don't know about that specific story. We could explore that. But to try to encapsulate their whole lives in these biopics. Number 4, they're separating each of the Beatles out into their own biopic. Part of what made Get Back such a fabulous documentary is that we got to see the Beatles close together, collaborating, fighting, arguing. If you're gonna separate them out already, when we know they break up at the end, and you're already gonna separate them in the medium, it doesn't make sense besides to make money. Now, if you want to make a 4-part Beatles movie, there's enough content for that, sure. There's enough history. But make it eras-based or albums-based. Have a Hard Day's Night film. There already was one. You know, have a early 60s, mid-60s, late 60s, post-Beatles. That, you know, would be interesting. So we're seeing all of them in each one, and they're connected. But I don't love this idea of separating each one out into their own film. It's like the Marvel universe of Beatles. I don't want that.